worker extraordinaire, and someone whom I have been doing dream work with for almost 2 decades or thereabouts. Hi,
Hello.
Carla.
Hello, Yiskah.
Hi, I haven't done dreams with you in a little while.
I know. It's very true. Oops.
Oh,
Things are happening. It's not letting me. Okay. All right. Oh my gosh. Did we just get bumped off?
no, we're on.
Okay.
It's about for prayer. That ends soon enough, right?
All right. Okay.
All right.
Interesting. So, shall we jump in?
I would love to.
All right.
You said you had a dream. You had a very interesting dream.
I
I
did.
think it was about with Leonard Nimoy. Is that the dream we were going to share?
Oh,
Or a different one?
yeah, I forgot about that one. That one was pretty good.
Yeah.
I thought about the Zeus one.
This one, that's right. That's right.
But when was the Leonard Nimoy? Oh, that I.
Before the
Oh, yes, it was. And I remember because I was. I'll remember a snippet without looking it up. I could always look it up afterwards, I guess, because I have the other one queued on my phone. But the piece that I remember with Leonard Nimoy was. That was the very end, but I was walking with somebody, I think a male friend, and we were exploring outdoors, I think going on a bridge or climbing up a structure, and it turned into a very large building, and then almost like a old college or old school, beautiful with wooden structures, cathedral ceiling, and we weren't supposed to be there. But my exploratory side felt, well, why not? Why can't we? No one's here and it's beautiful, and why can't we see what's going on? So he was a little more timid. Someone came into the room and we were hiding, going to hide. And he hid, but I kind of walked around and I wanted to peek to see who was looking for us. And I also didn't feel, I guess, as threatened as maybe the other person felt, because I really didn't feel I was doing anything wrong. And so when I looked and I saw it was Leonard Nimoy, and then at first, and then I was like, oh, thank goodness, you know, he's someone I really have, you know, positive, association with, and he's Star Trek, and so, and I used to really enjoy that show, and right, the logic. So he was going to reprimand us, and first was a bit stern, saying, "What are you doing here? You don't belong here." And I said, "But we're here to learn," or something like that. We're not doing anything bad. We're not causing any harm. We just wanted to explore. And it reminds me of the Star Trek Space, the final exploration, right? And I think that was their opening phrase or song or statement was "Space, the final frontier," to explore strange new worlds and seek out new life and civilization, to boldly go where no man has gone before. No one, no woman. Yeah.
Yeah, women only came on the scene in the 1970s.
That's right. Well, that relates to the second dream, the Zeus dream. And this I had right before the election. The Leonard Nimoy was a few weeks prior. I could find that. But this one I had November 1st, 2020.
Election dream.
Yeah, this was the electric dream. There were two dreams. In the first dream, Oh no, maybe there were more than 2 dreams. There was something I don't remember. I just made a brief note of somebody. Then there was a dream where I was in a restaurant and I was trying to sleep. Like it was a restaurant, but there were like 2 rooms to sleep in. So it was private but public. It was busy, and I had, I guess, a boyfriend at the time who was an ex-boyfriend, and not a very nice ex-boyfriend. And I was stuck with him in the dream. So I was trying to make the most of it because I was so tired, and I thought I just need to rest, and I'm kind of stuck here. And so there was some resignation because I needed rest. And then there were 2 rooms. One was more in front by the outside, and one was in the back, which was quieter. There was, I say, a crazier person because my ex-boyfriend was not nice. He was, not a good, not a healthy person.
I will ask all those questions after. Tell the dream as a story,
right?
And then we'll backtrack and ask all about the characters.
Right. And I don't want to. I'm thinking of how much I want to share, but we'll see how it goes.
Always dreamer's choice. Share only what you are comfortable with.
Just because it's public, I would share it privately, but
sure.
Should I name names? So in the back room, so someone wanted to switch rooms with us. So we took the back room, but then because that was quieter, and I was ready to sleep, and then we switched rooms with somebody else because then they wanted the front room, which was more private. Wait, take the back room. There are beds in this restaurant, so we had to take one in the front. Something about the bed in the public toilet. I was just ready to sleep. So ready to sleep at this point. Then we switched rooms, and somebody else, because they wanted the front room, I think that meant the back room, and I'd rather be closer to the outside, and the other one was more inside, so in the back, which was quieter and more private. And then the outside, there were fireworks or something going on. There might have been a holiday. I said, no, I want to be outside. Maybe my sister was there, one of them. And I couldn't see, we were in New York City then, and there were a few fireworks, and then maybe something else in the sky. I wasn't sure, looking out for. And then I had this, not a nightgown, but a sleep kind of attire, which was just these little like pants and a top. And it was they were stripes. And I have 2 of the same. One was black and gray, and the other is blue and a different shade of blue. So I had to put one of those on because one got a little dirty because it touched a toilet that wasn't too bad of a toilet, but still, my germ and my toilet dream themes.
Yes, you are a little bit of a
germphobe. So I had to change so it was, I either went from blue to black or black to blue. And so, but the toilet wasn't too bad.
We will be looking at that.
So then the next dream was a video game like thing. And this was the same night, yes. And the first one was, I think, about a different boyfriend. So there were 2 boyfriend themes. And then the third was another boyfriend theme. But this time it was Zeus.
Boyfriend?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Carla. Dr. Mazzeo.
So there was this, demigod or godlike figure of Zeus. Somehow I knew it was Zeus. And there was a circle of women. We were kind of all standing on some kind of pedestal in a circle. And the question was, who wants to have sex with Zeus? And I thought, well, maybe. So, but what I did was I raised my hands to feel the wind because the wind came, and I just wanted to feel the wind. And then all of a sudden Zeus came.
That's what she said. I'm just kidding.
Floating towards me.
Okay.
And, you know, like hovering in space. And, you know, kind of was that proposition, like, okay, you said you wanted this. And I thought, well, kind of getting skeptical here. I think there's only one God. Are these demigods, or is this the question of one God? And that was the immediate thought was, but there's only one God, so who actually are you? If this is what I'm believing. But then I also believe, you know, aspects of history and culture and the stories. So as soon as I thought that, another circle appeared of men outside the circle of women. And they were these trickster type demigods. And then it was kind of like this video game floating, and that it was, it wasn't the pleasant, enjoyable, you know, it was sets of challenges and things like that. And basically, I think because I had the dream right prior of the abusive ex.
Oh, you didn't mention that. You said that, yeah, okay. So that's
I was just right alluding to basically who's the one who attempted to kill me. Yeah. So, and that this, so the Zeus figure, even though we may idolize or we may, you know, have this, basically an idolization of something, but there is a real clear warning of what one may idolize as something that could be interesting or otherworldly. And to be, so it reminded me very much of the story, because I've been really exploring these last few years and really coming into a recognition, which I've always denied, as far as, or looking at the concept of evil. Like, what is evil? Because I never believed it. I believe in psychology, and I believe in the goodness of people. But there is more to it than that, and I've been forced to look at it over years, though I did not want to. And so this to me relates to that story of, to me it feels biblical in the Abrahamic, you know, religions regarding, not prior to Abraham, but the Abrahamic religions, the Old Testament, with the sons of God and the daughters of man.
Oh, that's wild.
Yeah.
Oh, you were being a daughter of man, and Zeus being the sons, possibly,
of God.
Some kind of supernatural.
Yes.
Son, God's self, according to the Greek religion. Okay, wow, so fascinating. Yeah, I just had a hint. I was thinking about the prior dream, the election dream, or was that the first? No, I think that was the middle one that you shared. And my head was like, with this dangerous boyfriend, that there is danger. And in my mind, this is my projection, in my mind, if Trump had 4 more years in the office, who knows what would happen to our democracy? You know, we were so threatened. Clean air was threatened, clean water, any kind of regulations. So in my version of that dream, that danger was there. And then, but people set off fireworks. It was a celebration. So maybe there was some prophetic message there that it's going to be something to celebrate.
Or that it was going to be okay. That it's, that I see, I think that the last administration really, and I have issues with politics in general, and I try not to see people as good or bad, black or white, but I see a lot of gray. But I do feel that that there's levels of misogyny that were sometimes things are black and white, and that there's been this narcissistic male aspect of hatred and misogyny that was that reminded me of the experiences that I have had, and was also in dreams of other people 4 years ago, right around the election, of people that I was working with having nightmares. So.
Oh, interesting. Yeah, it's amazing how much our dreams can reveal to us about the future. It's really there's always prophetic material in our dreams. You can look at them closely.
And that there's something about this position of power, right? And certain maybe force of position of power. I was looking at a documentary recently about Scientology, and how that the way it was depicted in the documentary or in the program was very similar in my mind to the Trump administration, where you're threatened, you're in a system where you are, degraded and demeaned. It's almost a military type of culture, and uneducated. So they don't believe in education, but they believe in a type of slavery. And I think it ties back with the slavery concept of the master slave, or the hierarchical, which is very dangerous to our evolution. And so.
What did you think of that from the dreams? What it was about the second the danger and the patriarchy. We're talking about the danger of the patriarchy.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah. And I think that had to do with the male outside the circle with the female, and that it is the patriarchy. Now, I thought the piece was interesting to me was the whole question of the one God. Here Zeus was floating towards me. Am I playing with fire because I'm enjoying the wind? Can I enjoy the wind? Is this mating with me? Is that having to do with magic, or playing with magic, playing with fire? If I'm enjoying the feel of the earth or Mother Earth, all these stories can be mixed together.
Right. Yes, absolutely. So I was also thinking of the first dream. So, and I'm sorry, let's just do a mishmash.
Yeah, that's fine.
In our exploration, projections, further backstory. So I was thinking of the first dream, and in my cosmology, when I dream of climbing up, or the upstairs, the roof, it's the higher realms. I've talked about this a bit. And the basement is the lower realms, like the unconscious mind. So so it makes sense that I would see a spaceman up there. So
and kind of a gatekeeper.
Yeah, right.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, that's right. That's a whole another aspect of him. So it's oh Bob, you're gonna fall. Sorry, my cat. Ow, has her nails in me. Okay. Just higher, but there's a lot I'm still learning. There's a lot, so it's a school. So anytime there's a school, there's a lot I'm learning right now, and that I need to be learning. And I was also thinking of Leonard Nimoy. So he does his symbol. Let me see, I used to be able to do it. Good, you got it. I can't do it with my other hand. So that's actually from the Kohen Gadol. That's the high priest's prayer in Judaism, and they do this with both hands, and then they pray over all the children, and they're wishing the children to be like their ancestors, and wishing them to have a long life. So I was thinking about that aspect. So already Leonard Nimoy is taking that very sacred, mudra, the hand position, and using that, So I was thinking of that as well.
Live long and prosper.
Live long and prosper, exactly.
Right.
You were saying you used to watch a lot of Star Trek in your younger years. Can you talk about that a little?
Oh, that was just a nice family event that we would do. We didn't get to watch a lot of television. We never had cable, just the basic channels. And so that was something that my brothers and sisters would enjoy watching together.
Oh, that's really nice. So it was like a family
sharing.
Snuggle up on the couch and watch.
Yep.
Yeah. That's wonderful. So,
so the Zeus figure was also seemed like a gatekeeper as well.
Yes. Yeah.
So I'm also reminded of the story of I don't know if I remember exactly, but I think it had to do with the was it not the Adam and Eve story, and Seth. There was Cain and Abel and Seth. Something about Seth. Let me see if I can remember. But that there's this sword that's spinning. I don't know. That there's this.
Yeah, the gatekeepers of the Garden of Eden, are the cherub. Oh, I don't know if it's the cherubim. I think those are the sweet angels. These are like a fiercer angel who have spinning swords and are the gatekeepers.
So it really felt that when he was, what is this? Have sex with me? Who female wants to have sex with me? And then he was represented in the wind.
Oh, that had to do with Zeus.
Yeah, that was Zeus.
Oh.
The Leonard Nimoy dream was a couple nights prior.
Before that, yes.
Yeah, but it was the abusive ex that I felt stuck with.
Yes.
And I was just so tired, I was willing to sleep.
Sorry, you're talking, but that's what I was feeling with the last 4 years.
Right, ready to sleep. And then having like a second wind and going outside and some celebration. And then, but what is this Zeus piece? What is this?
The second wind.
Right.
Right. I mean, Zeus, doesn't he give birth out of his head, right? His daughter Athena comes out of his head. Isn't that right? I don't know my mythology as well as I might, but I think of that. When I think of Zeus, I think of Zeus being like the top god.
And Saturn.
Zeus. With a capital Z.
Zeus was a big one, but Saturn, I think, was his father, and then Zeus. But Zeus was the lightning. The lightning.
Saturn's the tough one.
Yeah, they eat each other and everything. But the thunder, lightning, but the wind. There was my association or something in the dream with the wind, and I thought I was just. I was toying with the idea of, yes, do I want to have sex with you? I'm not sure. You're a really big figure and, wow, that's powerful. But also this innocence of, I just want to feel the wind.
And isn't that like foreplay? If the wind is connected to Zeus, that was your foreplay.
Well, and then it was also deadly or dangerous that it could be, And then this whole question.
Partner, Hera, right?
Yes.
Who's Hera? That's Zeus's partner. I want to learn more about Hera, and I'm sorry that I don't know it yet, but I'll get back to you on this, Carla.
Okay.
But, I want to know about Hera. Like, tell me more about Zeus's consort. I mean, that was his wife, or did he have another main consort?
I think he had many. And I had just watched a program, again, that old program about, really goofy one done in the 70s or 80s. Where everyone is jealous with each other, and one is having sex with everybody else and having demi-gods. so that Zeus was having sex with mortal women to create demigod offspring. So there was a lot of that going on. And
again, that's your theme, the sons of God and the daughters of man.
Right. Yes. That looking in a historical perspective, trying to put it into context, patriarchy, matriarchy, and really where our philosophy is and where we stand. How we're approaching everyone holistically or together, and the domination and oppression, slavery, or is there equality? And
yes, all these questions can totally tie in. So wonderful. So again, if it was my dream, I would feel, and I also feel this way about knowing you, Carla, having done dream work for so many years. I feel this real spiritual growth happening for me right now. If I'm up in the stars and I'm at school and learning, or up in the sky, and if Zeus is possibly my consort, and I feel like maybe I'm on the threshold of some spiritual awakening or learning or deeper understanding. So that's really exciting to me.
It was, but it felt cautious. It felt there was this video game component to it. So I wonder what that whole, what was that? Because right before he came, right when we were maybe going to have sex, there was this thought in my head of, because it's an age-old question, is there one God or many gods? And that's a big question for a lot of different groups of people.
Modern day Jews don't necessarily know that it's also a big question in Judaism. There's God, which is Yahweh or Adonai or whatever one would consider God, and then there's Eloheinu, which is the powers of the universe. So Eloheinu is like the demigods, the powers, and that's from the Old Testament. So I think a lot of people don't realize that there's two sides of God. There's also the feminine side. There's many sides of God.
And there's been many names of God, I know, in I'm not sure in Christianity, but in Islam, there's like 100 names for God. And in Hinduism, it's all about multiple aspects of God. And so we're trying to structure something that is not something we have the capacity, I think, to fully comprehend or structure. But it seemed that as soon as that was a turning point, now I don't know what would have happened if I didn't ask that question, like, who are you? Are you the trickster? That I was challenging him, because if I didn't say anything, then what would have happened? Would this other group appear? So there was something very significant about that moment in time.
Yes, and speaking out. I know that's a theme for you as well, Carla. The speaking out, that's been ongoing. The throat chakra, the voice. So so that maybe how. So do you think that switched things in a positive way, or?
No, I think it had the trickster feel to it, especially associating with the dream right prior to it, where my boyfriend was not of good character.
No, he was not.
And so, and then here's this very powerful God-like or demigod coming to me. So there's a lot of temptation there. He's powerful. He's amazing. And but then I questioned him at that moment. I questioned him. And so it was speaking out. And then it was kind of like this, oh, well, let me show you. kind of thing.
Why don't you show me that?
Right. I know. It's like, do I keep my mouth shut and just like go along with it? It felt like a test. It felt like a test, and then this video game of with these forces at play. And so I just have to look at that further in my exploration of my personal unconscious, but also in the collective unconscious, because I really feel I've now go back and forth between and live in both places.
Absolutely. Yeah. Well, I have a couple of hits. One thing is, so, I think a lot about humanity and what part of us is eternal and what part is, mortal. And I've been thinking about like almost like a transistor radio, like our body is receiving the spiritual link, or not link, but like essence, the energy of the spirit, and in a way, so that makes me think also we're maybe more computerized than we may think, and so that brings me into that. And then what I also wanted to tell you is I had a dream about a woman who brought a small beige or yellowish dog to me, and her name or his name was Loki. And I think it was you who said that's the trickster, So and I changed its name to Lucky.
Lucky.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And which is funny. I didn't want the trickster at that moment. I wanted like
Lucky.
Good things to come my way.
Well, that's Loki who's the other guy? Thor, right? Thor's brother is Loki, which also is the thunder and lightning piece.
Okay.
So you have Loki, I have Zeus. So it's like his Thor, Zeus, Loki. Loki was, I guess, the sibling, according.
And I had my dream about not Thanatos. What did I dream about? The god of dreams, who is, wow, I'm thinking, what's the name of the black guy in the Matrix?
Oh, Morpheus.
That's the guy. I dreamed that I slept with Morpheus and I had his child.
Wow.
I was having his child. That was the whole thing. I'll share that dream another time.
Wow.
The stream, but so does Morpheus, is he in the same mythology as Zeus and Loki?
I had just looked at that not too long ago, but it's not coming into my mind right now.
Okay, so again, like I said, I will definitely do my homework because I'm interested in all of this and research how these mythological figures fit together.
Yeah.
And I'll tell it on the next stream.
I know we have to end soon, but when was your Morpheus stream?
Oh, I had that dream before Stephen and Robin Larson finished their book on dreams, and Stephen wrote all about my Morpheus dream. Okay. I'll show you that. I'll show you his take on it because it was really intense.
That was a couple of years ago.
I must have had that a couple of years ago.
Okay.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah, like 2 years ago. Maybe longer. Who knows? I just keep on slipping into the future. Yeah.
So thank you.
Anything else you'd like to know about any of these dreams?
I'm going to sit with it a little longer. There's some, I think, deep messages for me. I like your point as far as noticing the question when I speak out. That really shifts the theme, where I become more of an active participant than a passive one. Yes. And it is kind of a sleeping or waking up piece, where in the dream prior, I just wanted to go to sleep. I was tired, but then I forced myself to wake up because there was some celebration happening or something in the sky, fireworks, and then maybe something else in the sky.
Oh, it's wonderful.
So
a lot to think about.
Staying awake.
So I'll love to talk with you about this further.
Good, sounds good. And then I guess with the dream prior, that I was in a place where, even though I was trespassing, it was a school for learning, and it was okay for me to be there. It was one of those where it's okay if you,
having that knowing.
yeah, having that knowing you're not really doing anything wrong. You know,
Right.
you're exploring.
Yes.
And
Yes.
so, yeah, so keep
To have
that going.
confidence, have that confidence in one's path.
Right,
That's powerful. Again, projection. Very powerful.
right.
Thank you so much,
Thank
Dr.
you.
Mazzeo.
Thank you for pursuing and encouraging and pushing me to get this out there to say it, because I get so distracted with so many other projects. So thank you.
So many more dreams.
Yes, exactly.
You're a rare case of, like, as I found with myself, until I work on a dream, I might not have any others.
Oh, I
You know,
have them all the time. I had
You're all the rare dreamer who it doesn't matter what you have to work on, because
more is always on the way. Yeah, I had some nightmares
Jeremy,
this morning, but we'll
boy.
save that.
Another time.
Yeah.
My father used to always say, dreams are like reliable public transportation. If you miss one, another comes right along to take you to the same place. You know, so that makes me feel very assured that you're not going to miss
You
out
won't
on
lose
any
anything.
information.
Yeah,
The
no.
next dreams come, and it's got your name on it.
Yeah. Yeah.
All right, so, but I do want to talk, so, with you, Carla,
Yeah.
we said, and so you're busy now. All right, we'll talk later, my darling.
All right, sounds good. I'll see you later.
See
Bye.
you later. Thank you, dreamers and listeners. I hope you enjoyed this Dream Stream podcast, and hold the mode, Metukim, sweet dreams.